Good evening, brothers and sisters. Welcome to our Introduction to Mission class. I am Lani Lane Ocbina, your teacher for this subject, and I'm very excited for this. And of course, I want to thank BCCL, Mom Claire, the staff for this privilege to introduce to you missions. In case it is your first time to have a formal class about this subject. I taught two other classes in BCCL before, which were the intercultural communications, and the other one is the world religions. Not sure if you've been to these two classes before, but welcome to this class, and I'm looking forward to a fruitful 2 weeks with all of you. So for this subject, we will be using the PowerPoints from BCCL, which Ma'am Claire, I believe, prepared for the past classes. So we're very thankful for her. Glory to the Lord. So at this time, we will proceed to the syllabus. Let me share my screen with you. So Introduction to Missions is an intensive look at God's mandate for missions, which is prevailing theme from the beginning of God's Word, from the OT and its fulfillment in the NT era, up to this day. So we will look into the developments in the missionary task, the strategies, the terminologies, and also understand its urgent call for all Christians to participate. So take note, it is for all Christians. We'll understand more about this throughout the course. The theology of mission, of course, will be a very important part of this subject. The theology of missions. Actually, if you will see the programs in seminaries, for example, the one which I have attended to, the EPTS, we have a subject which is Biblical Theology of Missions, and it's one of the 3 subjects that you take within a trimester. So one trimester is taken for 3 months. So you can only have 3 to 4 subjects for every trimester. So Biblical Theology of Missions is one of them. So it's a really long course or subject that you will need to take in the seminary. But for this one, it will just be a part of our subject what is this? The Introduction to Missions. I am saying in intercultural communication. So Introduction to Missions. We'll just have an overview of the biblical theology of missions. Actually, we have a book here by George Peters, and it's just one of the books that is a good read for missions, and it's a good book for biblical theology of missions. So here we will discover in the Old Testament God's missionary message to the Gentiles and the nations of the world. And then God's missionary purpose in the New Testament era and beyond as well. So what is missions in the Bible? So we will actually read the whole Bible in the missional view of God. So with this different lens, we will look at the true mission of God. So next, aside from the biblical theology of missions, the advancement of the gospel from biblical times up to this time. And then the importance and nature of strategies in world evangelization. Fourth is the missionary task at hand, who and where the major the majority of the unreached people groups are, and consider methods that can be used to reach them. So for some of you, maybe the term unreached people groups, or UPG, is a new term. We'll be using this term a lot in this course, and it is about the groups in the world wherein there is still no access to the gospel. Even, of course, the Bible. It's like a place in Cambodia before, many years ago, when a missionary came there and they asked, "Do you know Jesus?" And then the reply is that, "Is that some kind of a fish?" So they have no idea who Jesus is. They have no idea what the Bible is. So that group of people is considered an unreached people group. So they still don't have access to the Bible or the church, and they don't have idea who Jesus is. Once a missionary gets into their people group, then there is hope for them to be a reached people group. Anyway, we'll be talking more about this in the next lesson. So for this time, let's just focus on the syllabus first. So fifth, the dynamics of culture and how to address issues for effective intercultural interaction. Dynamics of culture. How to address issues. 6. That all are called to take a vital part in mission. So we highlighted all. This is a calling for all Christians. Why? We will explain this more later on. So students will discover their God-given role in mission by studying the 6 ways of reaching God's world. So for this course, our requirements will be attendance 15%, prayer homework 25%, seat work reading 25%, and cultural project is 35%. So we don't have a final exam, but we have a lot of work to do. But this actually will be very interesting, and I don't think you will have a hard time doing all these requirements. So for your individual cultural project, which is 35%, you have to choose and introduce an unreached people group within your block, where in the world they are located, their population, and history, economic situation, what is the dominant religion, prevailing societal issues, description of their culture. Again, you can use joshuaproject.net for this one, for your research. And then you have to present your research as a recorded video and tell us why we need to reach them for Christ. Make an appeal, show ongoing missionary efforts as much as possible. And I think it will be a good idea that you also wear something that can represent that group that you have chosen. Okay, kahit ano lang yan, you can be creative with that. For example, if it's a Muslim group, you can just use hijab or anything that will represent the Muslim. Of course, if you're a woman, you have to use the hijab, and then if you're a man, you need to use the cap for your presentation. Okay, yeah, it's here. You need to dress up. Convincing enough. this is your first time to encounter the term 1040 window, it is the rectangular area of the North Africa, the Middle East, and Asia, approximately 10 degrees north and 40 degrees north latitude. So it is often called the resistant belt, and this includes the majority of the world's Muslims, Hindus, and Buddhists. Actually, they usually call it the thumb because it's T for tribal, H for Hindus, U for the unreligious, M for the Muslims, and then B for the Buddhists. So thumb. So the original 1040 window included only countries with at least 50% of their landmass within 10 and 40 degrees north latitude. The revised 1040 window includes several additional countries that are close to up to 10 or 40 degrees north latitude and have high concentrations of unreached peoples. Actually, you can have more information about this in the internet, but I would suggest that you start exploring joshuaproject.net because it is a great site for missionaries and of course for all Christians, so we can have a good dose of updates about where the gospel is now. I mean, what's the status of the gospel when it comes to reaching the unreached nations or people groups, and which part of the world is already reached, which ones are still 0% believers. It's actually a good site to visit. So going back to this slide, ito po yung 1040 window. And most of this, the people living in this 1040 window, sila yung mga unprivileged, I mean the most unprivileged people in the world are found in this 1040 window. So mga Asian countries, very poor Asian countries, African countries, South Asian countries, and so many socio-economic problems. Yan, dito yan sa 1040 window. Okay, for the last one, prayer homework, 25%. We will be sending you the prayer booklets, and you can choose one about your chosen UPG or some other UPG, and then using the daily guide in the booklet, you will be praying about the prayer concerns for this UPG kasi meron doong nakasulat na prayer concerns, and then you can do more than one day if you choose to. So the student who is able to pray through the 30-day prayer entries in the booklet gets bonus points. If you have questions about this, I'll be welcoming your questions through email or FB even after this class. So for the textbooks, they are there in your screen. Yeah. I have here some books that I can also recommend to you. Of course, this one, The Biblical Theology of Missions by George Peters. And it's also there. If you have taken this course before, it's a very good course. The Kairos. This program, it runs for like 5 days. Usually, before the pandemic, they are having the program set for 5 days. Whole day. It's a whole day class for 5 days. And it's a really good program. We'll be using their textbook. Another book that we'll be using for this one is this church history book. I think some of you have taken this before. BCCL is also, yeah, I think BCCL is also offering church history, and they're giving this book as well. I assume there are lots of BCCL students who have this book. And I think in the library also we have this, Turning Points by Mark Knoll. And then, of course, this one is a very good book by John Piper, Let the Nations Be Glad. And then, this one, The Mission of God's People, Christopher Wright. It's a good book as well. So, yeah, I'll see you in the next video for our lesson proper. So again, if you have questions about the syllabus, let me know. See you in the next video.